see if this makes my sporadic high idle. I was idling at around 2,000 RPMs. See if it makes that stop. Otherwise, I'll replace the idle air control valve and see if it stops dying in the middle of the road. Tonight, we're back in the garage. We're working on this 87 Jeep Cherokee, the off-road rig. It hasn't been running great. It stalled out a little bit. It's also having some overheating, but and the idle's sporadic too. So one of the things I've just been meaning to do on this guy for a little bit here is to bypass the C101 connector. So since this is a 1987, 87 and 88 Cherokees, Comanches, they're gonna have this C101 connector right here. I'll show you it up close in a minute, but it's just a really big source of resistance and it causes a lot of electrical gremlins on these Jeeps. So I'm gonna get rid of it, eliminate it, and then just continue going about improving this thing, making it run a little better one step at a time. But this is Cruiser 54. It's from his website. It's his bypassing tips. So let's get right into it. Your C101 connector is located on the driver's side up at the firewall. It's this big chunky guy and it's got a bunch of wires running right through it. Now a lot of your stuff does run through this. Camshaft, crankshaft, idle, throttle, all those sensors go through this thing and it picks up a ton of resistance over time, so you're better off just bypassing it all together. It's pretty straightforward what you're gonna do. You just wanna take every wire that runs through it and get rid of it. Cut it here, cut it there, solder, shrink wrap, and attach it together. So I'm gonna take it apart, clean it out, and then we'll do one wire at a time and I'll show you what it looks like. A few things to note here. There's this big cover basically. It slides onto the back piece of your C101. It slides on like this. There's two tabs that sit inside of here that you gotta squeeze together before you can pry it off. Mine ended up breaking, but it shouldn't matter that much. Oh man, look at that. All this electrical grease, or there's a big chunk of it, but so that's one thing. On the front side, I've got, I labeled stuff top and then 1 and 1 and 2, top 2 and 2. I wrote on this actual cover and everything just so I remember which way the orientation goes. And then this one's over here and this one's right in there. It's got a plastic thing that wraps around. Now you gotta clean out a lot of this stuff in here just so you can see which wires go to which piece. If you've got this big chunky stuff still stuck in there, a wire may cross without you knowing it. But you're gonna follow this one, basically blue, goes all the way to the corner. So then you're gonna find your corner pin over here and that's actually blue. And then it looks like the next one is like a dark green, which goes to my lime green. And then I've got a brown going to this brown. So just follow. It looks like my colors do kind of line up pretty well, which is nice. But you're just gonna follow these. You're gonna cut back here and then cut over here and join them together and solder them. I am using these little solder heat shrink guys. They're real nifty. You don't have to crimp. You don't really have to solder. You just heat it up and then the solder melts out of this silver piece. They're from Amazon. Pretty cheap. I've used them before. Maybe use a better one instead of Amazon cheapo, but you get the idea. So I'll go ahead and start cutting. The only other thing I'm gonna mention is don't cut all the way up in here. Maybe give yourself a tiny bit of room, maybe an inch, just so you can see the color. That way if you mess something up, you can try to go back and retrace it to figure out what you messed up. And that's all there is to it. I'm gonna get to this and I'll check back in with you. I forgot to mention you should disconnect your negative terminal for the battery before starting any of this. We are about to do the first one and it looks like so far all my colors have lined up, but what I'm trying to show you here, I'll switch my hand, is looking back here, If you look at that back harness, the farthest to the passenger side and the top is red and yellow. And then same thing over here on the front side harness, it's red and yellow. So I've cut them both back, and I'm about to, here's another look at one of these little Amazon shrink wrapper deals, but I'm just gonna slide this over. Hard to do with one hand. Okay, get that back out of the way. I'm gonna braid these two together, then I'll slide my solder shrink wrap back over it, and then hit it with this little mini pen torch, and that'll be the first one. And then I just repeat that like 27 more times until that entire connector is eliminated. The jumbled mess is, it's getting there. I pulled back some more of the loom, and we're just going through. So a couple things to note. Not all of the wires have wires on both sides. So let's see, on the side closest to the passenger side, I had one coming from the back that didn't have anything coming out on the front to solder together. So I just capped that guy off and put some shrink wrap over it. It's sitting there. And on this side, I think it's gonna be a bit of the same as well. There's gonna be some wires on one end that don't go to anything on the other end, and vice versa. And that just has to do with a standard wiring harness and then different trim packages. So you may have certain things in your engine bay, AC, automatic, manual, different types of options on these cars. So don't worry if you don't have connections on one side. Just don't mix anything up. And that really just goes to show why you really do need to clean off all this gunk on the back side so that you can see exactly which pin it's going to. Because if you got two right next to each other but there's a bunch of gunk in it and you can't tell, you think it's one on this side and then they actually cross at the bottom, something like that, you may end up soldering the wrong one. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, and then we'll hook up our battery cable and see if anything starts smoking before we actually try to start it. All right, negative terminal of the battery is hooked up, light fell down. All the wires are connected, nothing sparking, smoking. I did just fire the Jeep up. It fired up great, sounded normal, was idling perfectly for the 5 seconds I had it on. Of course, I'm in a closed garage, so I really didn't want to play with it too much, but I've got these few extra on the front side of the engine, not the firewall side. There's 3 of these guys left over, so I'm gonna clip them and I'll shrink wrap them down, and then I'll go ahead and wiring loom this whole thing up, zip tie it down, button things up, and that'll pretty much be a wrap. I can get back to flushing the coolant out on this thing, adding some extra grounds, and just doing a few more maintenance items that I had been meaning to do. But I am excited to get the thing out and do some winter wheeling this year and just see if it runs a little bit better. See if this makes my sporadic high idle, I was idling at around 2,000 RPMs. See if it makes that stop. Otherwise, I'll replace the idle air control valve. And see if it stops dying in the middle of the road. I haven't really had a chance to fully test that, but I've replaced, crankshaft position sensor, a bunch of other things. And so that's how you bypass the C101, and I'll get that tidied up. Okay, I couldn't leave you without a final video, final shot of the C101 eliminated and everything all wire loomed back up. Okay, that'll do it.